The entire world is in shock after the passing of rapper Takeoff from the Migos was announced early Tuesday morning. According to TMZ, the incident happened shortly after 2:30 in the morning, where cops received a call about a man that was shot at a bowling alley in Houston. Multiple reports claim Quavo and Takeoff were playing dice when an altercation broke out and someone opened fire. Takeoff was pronounced dead at the scene. This tragic news comes less than 2 months after rapper PNB Rock was also shot and killed, leaving many of us wondering, how can we stop this type of violence from happening? But before we get into today's topic, don't forget early voting has started. Voting is not the only answer, but it's a powerful tool we have for change that we need to see, so don't waste it. If you're in Georgia and you need a ride to the polls, call the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683. Today we have our company hype analyst, Pierre, in the studio, along with Danielle Miller and Capone calling in to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
Hey, we're here at in between Dallas and Polk on San Jacinto. We got one male that's deceased. He's right in front of the 810 bowling alley, which is on the 3rd floor. Looks like he's been shot in the head or neck, possibly. Right now, we don't have a whole lot of information. We know it happened somewhere around 2:35. There were some security guards that were in the area, but they heard the shooting, but no one saw who did the shooting. A lot of folks were there. They were in front of the bar. The bar was actually closed at the time. They had the doors locked, but people were congregating out on the balcony area, and everybody fled. We've got some video footage, but not very well. Everybody fled. Homicide investigators are coming. It would be great if anybody would come forward and tell us what occurred, because right now we really don't have a whole lot of anything. So if they would call HPD homicide, that would be great. At this time, it's so fresh. Like I said, everybody took off running. There is a lot of debris up there. I'm not sure at this time. I'm sure they'll find something.
Man, here we are talking about it again less than 2 months after talking about PNB Rock. I'll come to you first, Pierre. What was your reaction when you heard this news break?
Sad. I'll say this, okay, we all don't know what's happening. We're speculating all this, okay, everyone. So no one knows what's happening. And I'm also going to speak about, I know everyone gets shot. White people get shot, Asians, I get that, but I don't care right now. I'm talking about black people. So I don't in the comments, I don't need to hear say, white people do it too. I don't hear all that, okay? We're talking about the black community, the black men. You know, it seems like we're so quick to solve our problems with the gun, you know, with the violence of just, and when you find out what it was about, if it gets, gets down to find out what it's about, it'll be so minute that taking a life is not worth it, I'm quite sure. I don't know why we can't walk away from stuff. And people who are in the industry who are famous or, doing better than other ones, got to watch out where they are. I know it says, hey, man, we can go wherever I want to. Yeah, you can. But you don't know what's lurking. Yeah. Those people in the streets are, they're hungry, they're mad, they're jealous, they want to get fame. They'll take a chance of doing that, what they did with this young man, Takeoff. So I don't understand. The streets are something else, man. You got to move differently when you have money. You got to have security around you, more security. Maybe some places you can't go like you normally go to. I don't do things I used to do 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just not worth it. Right. I got too many loved ones, and I'm feeding too many people to lose my life to some ignorant fool out there who just mad at me because I say something on Comedy Hype, or they didn't like me before, or their girlfriend might like me. You got to move differently, man. It's a shame that we just, as black men, go to that gun real quick for a solution.
Right, yeah, and we'll dive into that a little more. Capone, I want to bring you in. When you heard the news drop, what was your reaction and thoughts on it?
I said I was pretty much shocked, and because Takeoff has always been the one that wasn't as flamboyant as the other guys. And I agree with Pierre 100%. When you making these certain kind of money, you just can't go back to the normal life that you thought was normal before, with being in the hood, rolling dice. I mean, that alone, I love to gamble. But I'm not going back and shooting no dice with friends or foes, because I know what it leads to. Same thing as alcohol in the bars. You get there and somebody who feel like they got more money than you, or you shouldn't be successful or whatever, it happens, and it keep happening because we put ourselves in these positions that we're trying to keep it real and just show that we're still down to earth. Sometimes you got to float above and just stay on that course.
Man, absolutely. Danielle, let me bring you in. What was your reaction when you heard this news break?
When I saw it at first this morning, I saw it from one media house that posted it, and I just was like, I hope this isn't true, because my mind immediately went off to the whole fact that the group split up. just recently. And they weren't saying much inside the media, on their press run when him and Quavo released their album. But them and Offset seem to have, a little riff, and they're all family. So my mind immediately went to that and how they must feel, in terms of Quavo and Offset and other family members as well. So that's the first place my mind went. And then I was saying, I hope it isn't true. And then when it was confirmed, it was true. And then where it happened, I agree with Capone and Pierre. You just, when you reach a certain level of, I don't even think it's just a level of success. You just have to watch where you go and who you have in your surroundings. But definitely my heart went straight towards their family and close friends.
Absolutely. Now, of course, a lot of people on social media are sounding off on this, rightfully so, and a lot of people are upset. One user says another young black man, because I would like to mention he was only 28. So another young black man dead over a nigga moment. That was completely unnecessary. Why is it so easy for black men to kill each other over the dumbest stuff? Why not just walk away instead of pulling a gun? Takeoff shouldn't be dead because of some idiot had a gun. Yo, my black people. So Pierre, I'll come to you because I know you've actually been a victim of gun violence, and I know we've kind of talked about it on the show as well. But how do we prevent these type of events from happening, right? Because it's so many layers, and sometimes it can just feel overwhelming. How do we prevent these events from happening?
Well, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because, a lot of these young men come from the streets. So they have no one wants to abandon where they came from, and some of it's still inside of them. But they're going to have to learn. You still can't be around certain people, certain environments. You just can't. So I hate to say stay home or just be on tour and get back to the hotel room and stay there. I mean, we're talking about 28-year-old men, but 28-year-old men are still young. They're out there doing what they're doing. Just got to be wiser and just hope it's not your time. That's all. I can't tell people to say stay home. I can't tell these young black men just stay home all the time. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's not going to happen. Like Capone said, maybe more security. I heard it was at a place that a lot of people go to. It wasn't like it was in a hood spot in a hole in the wall kind of place. He was in a place that I'm hearing is like kind of big place where it has amusement and all that kind of stuff, games and so forth. It's just some nigga had to act the ass and shit, and I don't know what it's about, but pulled that thing out and shot him. Like what? Like what is the beef so much? Like it's got to be us checking ourselves inside. Like why do we have to feel like killing somebody, man? Why is it like that is the necessary thing? Because when it comes out, we're gonna find out what it was. I guarantee you, it's not worth taking a life.
Absolutely, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Even knowing that, a dice game is just like, it's a game. It's a game, and I understand gambling. But hey, Capone, let me bring you in and get your thoughts on that. I hope there's some type of solution, but just wondering to get your thoughts. How do you think we prevent these events from happening? Especially, I feel like right now we're seeing it so much in back to back where we don't even have time to process, the last incident. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
It's definitely going to be hard because lawmakers are making it very easy for the younger generation to get these guns. I was actually riding to the garage to get one of my cars fixed, and I seen three guys with, nines hanging out their pockets. And me just being curious, asked them, hey, what is the age that you guys are legally carrying? It was like 18. 18, your mindset is not equivalent to really a man yet. You still looking for young things, you're looking for beef, and you're looking for just any reason to show that you know how to use this thing. And it's so sad because of the fact that, they're allowing this. The lawmakers are allowing. In Texas, you can just walk around freely with it. In Atlanta, you could just walk around freely with it. And it's just amazing to me that it seems to be a setup when you have it. I held a gun in my hand and it made me feel powerful. I wish somebody would say something to me when I was younger. And I think that this mentality just keeps going on, and it's worse now because they're the ones that's ruling the world.
Man, Danielle, let me bring you in and get your thoughts as well. How do you think we prevent these things from happening, being that we're seeing it, more and more, I feel like, as time continues to move forward?
The crazy thing is, in the Bahamas, it's illegal to carry a handgun. So you don't have access to handguns here. However, there's still violence that happens. People still find a way to get handguns. So we can say, you know, lawmakers, but I think accountability has to come on ourselves. I also think that we need to be more responsible, and this may sound a bit controversial, but you mentioned that, you know, we're seeing this more and more. For decades now, what we've been glorifying and hearing is that gangster life. I remember when I was younger, I thought I was a little gangster. I never held a gun, but you know, I thought, you know, being rough and tough was cool, and I'm sure like a lot of other young men. And I think we've seen that portrayed through TV shows and through music and stuff. And like Capone said, when you're so young, you're not processing reality from fantasy. So that's getting into you, and that's getting into your emotions, and you begin to want to be that person when you hear it for so long. And it's something that I've always played with because, like, for instance, with music, any type of art form, people just express what they've seen through their art. So how can we say in the hip hop community, stop rapping about violence and stop rapping about guns when this is all that they see? So it's sort of a up and down thing for me, and in terms of how do we battle that. But I think what we really need to do is take some type of accountability for ourselves, especially our young kids, in terms of censorship as well. Um, and I think that's where it starts. I think that's where it definitely starts. But in terms of how do we prevent this, I honestly, at this point, I honestly don't know. I honestly can't say, except to take some type of accountability for ourselves and our emotions and our actions.
Absolutely. Pierre, if you want to add to that.
And I know this is going to be hard for most people to do, but you know, especially black people, but black men especially need therapy. We need this anger inside of us that we need to understand and either release, not in this way, but understand how to bring it down.
Yeah.
I remember just black men we'll walk around each other, look at each other, give each other a hard look, and it can start from there. We have something that's ready to ignite inside of us. Society has done it to us, but society ain't changing. The white man ain't changing how he's treating us. They ain't gonna change us. We got to change ourselves.
Right.
But we need to find and identify that we have this problem inside, this anger inside of us that we need, that's so quick to pop off to kill somebody for something so slightly. I don't know what it is, but I don't know how to get to that point. But we need to find therapy, or people need to talk and talk it out. Lately, you know, a lot of comics have passed away, and I've had so many comics call me, and some of us have been in tears and been like, I love you, brother. You're like, but it took a lot of people, comics to die, that some of these comics now in their 40s and 50s are saying, man, it's not worth having to beef with each other and to show love to each other. I just wish as a community that we would do that to each other, to understand that we're beautiful people. We are beautiful people. People want to be us so bad outside. They want to be us. They want to dance like us, act like us, sing like us, look like us, have a hair like us, and so forth. But we don't see it in ourselves how beautiful we are. And we just feel like the next person, man, and we just have that anger we walk around. And a lot of us walk. Look at the comments. They're just quick to anger. Yeah. I remember I had put something down. I did a little experiment, and some of the comics were coming in with, man, wait till Corey see you. Corey gonna get you. Corey gonna get you. Like, why do you want that? What's the anger for that? He's gonna come get you. He's gonna come get you. They were so quick to do that.
Yeah.
Why do you want us to beef? Why? What's the fun about it? Until it gets to a point where it's too serious and someone gets killed, and you're like, oh, we should stop that.
You know, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head, and that brings me to my next point. I'll actually come to you also. A user actually said black men are dying at alarming rates because most black men cannot handle their emotions. You know, mental state or mental stability, or just being able to have a healthy mindset, or just just health around your mental state is a big conversation right now, especially in the community. So Capone, let me come to you. Do you agree with that the emotions of black men, whether it's trauma or just things that haven't been resolved, is a big part of this, of why we're seeing these killings happening?
I agree 100%. Counseling, talking to somebody, us older guys need to learn to reach back out to these young brothers. I remember growing up, and the OGs back then teaching me, even if it was something wrong for what I was doing at the time, and it was still taught to me. You just can't do certain stupid things, and I wound up in prison. And when I got in prison, it probably was the safest thing to say to save my life. It was a time that I spent alone and did a lot of thinking, and made sure that I would never go back into that place again. And sometimes it takes these different unusual routes for us to learn. You know, I was very wild when I was young. I was a gangster hood dude, and going to prison at an early age taught me that's not the life that I want to live, and it changed me. So I'm always willing to talk to young guys. People who know me, I always try to drop jewels, but some people just don't listen, man. And I can honestly say that I'm the type of person, I don't turn my back on anyone. Advice is something that I would give free every time I can give it.
But let me ask you a question, Kavon. You said you went to jail and it changed you. Why didn't someone talking to you before you went to jail not change you? Because that's the problem. You can't go to jail and then change. How can we stop you from going to jail or killing the next person?
I was very, very wild. And the things that was taught to me, basically, if I'm going to do it, I might as well learn how to do it right. So, and I'm going to just give you an example. I was a drug dealer. I didn't work for nobody. Somebody told me, well, if you're going to do it for yourself. Take on the consequences of yourself. Don't take on the consequences for another man. To me, that was great advice back then because I was going to do it regardless. And being successful at it, and I say successful because I'm still breathing, not because I made a lot of money or I'm still breathing and I'm free now. And so that was success because I know a lot of people that were in my shoes that didn't make it out. And my testimony is something that I would love to share because it's not an easy thing to make it. You get the jealousy, you get everything that you could possibly have against you as a drug dealer is against you.
So let me ask you this, Kamon, because I think you asked a great question. Because the hope is that there can be some type of solution or something can be implemented. Going back to that frame of mind now that you're in hindsight, do you think if you had somebody talk to you that had experienced what you experienced, kind of somebody that's who you are now, talk to you then, what do you think could have helped you before you went to jail, or what do you think could have been that thing that clicked for you before you had to go to prison that could have been helpful?
I'm gonna be very honest with you. Nobody could have talked to me back then. Prison was my destiny, and it changed. That's what changed my life. The way the money I was making, you can't tell a man that's making this type of money anything. And I was very young, very naive, very arrogant, and the money changed me. But prison brought me back to reality, and the prison system, and the court, the judicial system, taught me that you can't win. You can't win. And once I learned everything that I learned, I realized that I had a deeper talent that could make me just as much money, that could make me just as successful. Because a lot of guys back then when we were young, we did it for stupid reasons. Yeah, the money was good, but we bought these fancy cars and spent up all our money just to impress the chicks and do dumb stuff, pretty much.
Well, I definitely appreciate you being open and vulnerable in that. Hopefully, somebody sees that and kind of say like, okay, hey, maybe I need to stop doing what I'm doing and change. But Danielle, let me bring you in with that same question. When we talk about mental health, it is a big conversation right now, especially with our Black men, just giving them these spaces that we know that they need, that they haven't had. So, the question is, do you agree that the emotions of Black men, is contributing to the killings that we're seeing more and more?
I don't just want to put this on our Black men. I think us as a community, man and female, we all need some type of help therapy. It's like what Capone said earlier. A lot of times men do things to please women, and we egg on that behavior unknowingly. We egg on the toxic behavior of a man. Sometimes we present the toxic behavior ourselves that get them wrapped up into certain behaviors. So I think all of us as a community, it goes back to what Pierre said. We have this hate in us. We have this hate in us. We have this unstable emotions in us. I think we all need to address. And I think we all need to come to grips with and be real with ourselves. It's not just the males that are contributing to this thing. It's also us as females as well. It's us as a community. And if we would come to grips and terms with that, I think that's the first step. I also want to say, before I forget, I think it's very disgusting of us to always be recording when crimes happen and a lifeless body and persons that are in distress, and then we posting it on the internet for some type of likes or some type of money or with whatever it may be. I think it's very, very disgusting. So I really want to say that. So that video that's floating around that where you hear Quavo on the call asking for help, Like that's not cool. And we do that. We tend to do that, and we tend to circulate it, and we do it to each other. So like Pia said, other races might do it as well, but let's just talk about ourselves. Let's just talk about our community. Can we please stop doing that?
Absolutely no. I think that is definitely the question to propose, because I'm tired of seeing it sucks to keep having these conversations. Just imagine the people that we don't have as a headline, that's not a celebrity, that's not a rapper, that are just our everyday people within our community. So I absolutely agree with that. I do want us to take a look at a video from DMC, but before we do that, of course I want to know what you have coming up. So again, thank y'all for joining in on this topic. I know it's a tough one. I know it's one of the ones that we hate having to talk about these things, but it's a necessary conversation so that we can stop seeing this happen over and over. So I'll start with you, Danielle. What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you out there in the Bahamas? We love the view. Thank you for giving us a good view on this one. What do you have coming up?
So what do I have coming up? Nothing but comedy hype every Tuesday. You can catch me here every Tuesday.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah, this is a Comedy Hype is a great platform with some great people. And make sure you get your merch. I have my shirt all the way in the Bahamas. I have my merch. I have my coffee mug somewhere around here. I don't drink coffee, so I put like tea and other stuff in it. And then I also have the card game as well. So make sure you get your merch from Comedy Hype. Check out Comedy Hype Lab. And then you can follow me on social media at DGEEA Miller on Instagram, and Danielle Miller on Facebook, Danielle on Twitter. I don't tweet much, but you can follow me there, and that's it.
Absolutely. Now, Capone did have to drop off, but of course, you know that you can follow Capone on Instagram at Comedian Capone. If you don't know how to spell comedian, don't follow him. Pierre, let me kick it over to you. What do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
If you're in Birmingham, Alabama, this Friday night, November 5th, I will be at the Stardome. Come check me out in Birmingham. I like Birmingham. I like my man Ricky Smiley's from Birmingham. Good people from Sir Walton's on the show too. So Birmingham, Alabama, this Friday, a couple of days from now, 3 days, whatever it is, November 4th, I'll be there. Also, you can follow me always on my my other platform, which is Pierre's Panic Room, one of the hottest podcasts where I sit down with celebrities, and especially folks from the 90s. A lot of those from the 90s have great conversation. This week we got my man John Hinton on. He's Overton from Living Single, so check it out. Really good interview. Says a lot of stuff I'm surprised about. And you can follow me at Comedian Pierre. Not comedian, I'm sorry, Comic Pierre. Damn.
Got you.
Yeah. All right. And you can follow me at Comic Pierre. If you don't know how to spell none of them words, don't even worry about it, player. Okay, I'm around somewhere. Just keep watching me on Comedy Hype Plus. Oh, and I have a special coming out called Half Truths, a stand-up comedy special. It's their first stand-up comedy special they're promoting called Half Truth, because I'm half black, half white. I'm saying much truth. It'll be on their new streaming platform, Comedy Hype. Look at that, Plus, or Hype Plus, I think it is. Boom. Come on, I'm flying flashy, boy. I'm flying flashy on it, boy. And don't forget to leave it in the comments.
Well, again, thank y'all for joining me on this topic. It is a tough one. Definitely want to send our condolences to Takeoff's family, as well as all his friends and just everybody that was impacted and around and had to witness that as well. Also, let's stop posting these videos. Let's stop reposting it. I think the video came out before his family even knew exactly the details of the shooting. So let's just be mindful. I know the internet feels good, but my gosh, let's be mindful, guys, of what we're putting out here on the internet. Again, don't forget, voting has started. If you need a ride to the polls, you can call the Coalition for the People's Agenda at 877-524-8683. Once again, that's 877-524-8683. We want to see change, so let's make sure we take the actions to see that. Again, thank y'all for chiming in on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about the passing of Takeoff? Again, I want to play this clip as we close out from the amazing DMC.
Jam Master Jay got shot and killed. Pac got shot and killed. Biggie got shot and killed. X just got shot and killed. It's a shame. But the greatest shame is, what about all of the young men and women who are not celebrities getting shot and killed? Imagine if the same way we advertise X and advertise Jay's death and Biggie's death, imagine what would happen if we started advertising every young person getting shot and killed. Then it would be outrage. My fight isn't with the dude that shot Jam Master Jay in the head. I have no personal beef with him. My fight is against the mentality that would cause him to do it. Pac got shot, hip hop mourns for 2-3 weeks, and then we go back doing the same bullshit, same ideas, concepts, and images, like having a gun is cool, not changing the conditions that killed Pac. So, of course, 2 weeks later, another motherfucker's going to die and Biggie's going to die. Then we do the same thing. We make tribute records and we talk and he's a legend in that. The thing is, when the first shooting happened, let's do something so that it doesn't happen again.